Recording in progress.
Shangi Compagnie Top Show. Okay, let's do the four limitless contemplations if you can get them. That was the English, Carrie. Shame. If you got the, yeah, that's perfect, Cooks. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal, impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Sem jentam che dewatang dewe jutang den pa juchik dungal tang dungal chichu tang trawa juchik dungal mepe dewa tampa tang minrawa juchik nering chak tang ni tang trawe tang nom chempo la ne pa juchik. So good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see all of you. Morning in America, not evening. Morning in America, early evening in the UK, and evening in South Africa. And just to say to all of you, if you could switch on your cameras, marvelous, please. But we will next week, because of Easter, because of all the holidays and everything, we'll skip next week, take a break, and then the week after we'll start. So I'll send you a message just in case you forget that we won't have one next week. But tonight, I really do want to go into a lot more depth of these five beautiful beings. I just want to get to it, and then I'm with you. The fascination of understanding the 5 dimensions of being, and this is part 4. And I thought maybe we'd make this the last session, unless you ask me, because what I could do as well is I could do a session on the personality characteristics, which I know a lot of you seem to be very interested in, but I might have a bit of time tonight, but I won't have time to do really looking at the 5 dimensions and all the personality things. So maybe we could do a few, but if you want to end these 5 dimensions of being tonight, I'm happy to do that. But if you want to have a more detailed one of how it actually affects you in your personality, then we could do one more time. So I want to do 2 stories. First of all, the story called Mindset. Okay. A man was passing some elephants at a circus ground and was confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by a rope tied to their legs. It was obvious that the elephants could at any time break away from the ropes they were tied to, but for some reason they did not. He saw the trainer nearby and asked how these beautiful, magnificent animals just stood there with no attempt to get away with the rope that they could just break in 1 minute. The trainer explained that when they were very young and much smaller, the same size rope was used to tie them, and at that age, it was binding for them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe that the rope still holds them if they try to break free. So these gigantic creatures, so much stronger than the rope that tied them, limited their present abilities by a mindset of the past. Now, we do this with so many things that we believe we cannot do and refuse to attempt because of the mindset of the past. This completely limits our potential, especially when we do not believe we are already enlightened human beings. So, to get to truly understand our 5 dimensions of being, we need to get past the mindsets that we were conditioned from childhood up, the religions and what they told us, our parents and what they told us. To get to the 5 dimensions of being, you have to get out of the box. There's no doubt about it. And we don't realize how much our habit conditioning, which is number 4 of the skandhas, forms, feelings, perceptions, and your habit conditioning, your mental formations, your habit conditioning, and then that becomes your human consciousness. And that 4th thing is so influenced, and our thinking and our perception is always in the box. We've got to have everything perfectly organized, and we have to get out of the box if we want to actually experience this pure perception. And then my second story, to take it one step further, is there was a meditation teacher from the West who went to practice with Zen master Seung San in Korea. I think his name's Seung San. During the journey, he undertook a pilgrimage to other masters and temples, and while traveling on a remote road, he came across a particular elegant Buddhist shrine at the base of a mountain. Next to it was a sign, "The way to the most beautiful Buddha in all Korea," and an arrow pointing to the 1,000-step path up the mountain. The young visitor decided to climb, hiking up the steps till he reached the top. The view was breathtaking in every direction. 1,000 steps, worse than my steps in my house. Okay, the simple Zen pagoda matched the elegance of the one below, but in the place of the Buddha on the altar, there was nothing, only empty space and the gorgeous green-hilled vista beyond. Going closer at the empty altar was a plaque that read, "If you can't see the Buddha here, you had better go down and practice some more." Okay, so the thing is that the empty space was the Buddha nature, but the story following the habit conditioning is about waking up out of the box. And sometimes we do need 1,000 steps to get there. But without going on the mission and climbing up every basic step, we could just discover our awakened dimensions right here, sitting at home. We just need to be sure that we are not this physical character that we're playing, the role of which we're playing, Terry, the role of which we're playing in the theater of life, but rather something we open up into when we're ready. I'm ready and happy to lead you there, even if it's a bit of the blind leading the blind, but never mind. Some of the things I've seen in all my years of studying these 5 dimensions, I feel it in my blood. Okay, so whatever I can do, I would love to share it with you, and I would love you to be able to get a little bit of what I've got. And I just want to give you a quote from the Circle of the Sun. He says, "The 5 Buddha families represented by the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities." Now remember, even though we talk about 5 families, each family has entourages and entourages and entourages. And are there 100 Buddhas? Are there 1,000,000 Buddhas? Are there 1,000 Buddhas? There's no such a thing as a Buddha. There are 1,000 qualities. There are 1,000 of our inner beings. If you want to see them as angels, as whatever you want to see them, there's no problem, because people say to me, "But what if you don't believe in any Buddhas, what will you see?" I said, "You'll see whatever you have in your belief system, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter if it's not Buddhas." But in Buddhism, we talk about Buddhas because it represents the qualities of what we are. So he says the 5 Buddha families represented by the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. So we always talk about the peaceful and wrathful deities that we're going to see when we come into the Bade. They are the expression of one's true identity and have always been present within one's being. Sentient beings who don't realize this are deluded about duality, themselves and the external world, and are distracted by the 5 psychophysical constituents that we'll mention again, the 5 elements, the 5 sensory expressions. In other words, everything that's in your physical, we are distracted by. But if you look deeper, you would find that actually none of those are really what they seem to be. So like what I gave you on the first time where I turned a garment inside out, we are inside out. And we need to turn our garment the right way round. What we are seeing is inside out, or is the frozen ice tray that we put into the freezer, but we forgot that that frozen ice was actually water. So when we take it out of the freezer, it starts flowing. When we take our psychophysical constituents out, then the nature can flow, the real nature can flow. So if we look at the 3 kayas, okay, which are what we're really made of, and I said last week that these 3 kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya, it's very important you know them, but actually they are 5 if you want to fit them into the 5 dimensions of being, because Rupakaya represents the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. It's a name for both of those bodies which the Dharmakaya, our essence, creates, so that number 1, we can see who we are, and number 2, we can give compassion to everybody on a physical level where they can see us. So the 4th one's called Rupakaya, and then all 5 together are called Svavabhikakaya. So we won't worry about those last 2. We're just going to worry about the 3. But I want you to see everything in the perspective of 5, so that you actually understand that your whole being is compiled of these five aspects, okay? It's imperative to understand exactly how these 3 kayas, 5 if you want, how they operate if we want to understand these 5 dimensions. We need to know how they operate, because the Dharmakaya is our essence. If you look in the sky, you see it, but it's not only the sky, it's the awareness that we've got to see in the sky. It's not only space, it's an absolute emptiness, full of possibility, full of space, full of everything, and everything arises out of that. Now, when we come to the second body, the Sambhogakaya, this is where these 5 dimensions manifest. They don't manifest in the Dharmakaya, because the Dharmakaya is absolute essence with no features, so to speak. But when you come to the Sambhogakaya, which only developed and evolved, only when you go onto the different levels can you actually commune with the Sambhogakaya. But the Sambhogakaya, which is the nature, the luminosity, the awareness, the clarity, is we've got to understand that from the Sambhogakaya arises these 5 dimensions. So when we die, at first, what we are exposed to is the essence, the Dharmakaya. But most of us can't recognize that, because it's called the clear light, because we're not evolved enough to see that clear light. But if we miss that clear light and come to the second bardo, that's where the Sambhogakaya of us expresses itself. So that's where all the 100 deities, all the families start coming towards you in their magnificent colors. Each of the 5 families, each of the 5 dimensions comes towards you. Now, all of you from this should be able to be awake, because when you come to the second bardo, you should be able to see those 5 dimensions. And not only should you be able to see the 5 dimensions, you should be able to recognize, sorry, I'm just covering my poor dogs, they're a little bit cold. Not only should you be able to recognize them, but you should know the feeling inside you about which one of the families you belong to. Now, for me, from all my years of looking and playing with these 5 dimensions, it is absolutely clear to me to which family I belong. I know exactly where I've got to go back. And if you can recognize, know that in the bardos, if you can know the family that you belong to, then you will automatically just be freed. And that's some Bokakaya level. So what happens from the Dharmakaya is 5 rays of light go out from the Dharmakaya. If you look very carefully, you might even see those 5 rays. And then the 5 rays are 5 different colors, magnificent, magnificent colors, not like the colors we know, but 5 rays. And these 5 are a way of knowing reality, because all 5 are the pure expression of our essence. And if we don't recognize them, then we've taken the deluded path, not the awakened path. So it is very important that even after these talks, that you play with this. You can't do it in a chart. You can do it in prayers, and you can say them every day. And then as you say them every day, they get deeper and deeper and deeper ingrained. For me, these 5 dimensions are pure energy. And energy is, in essence, neutral. And I'm going to tell you a little more about the energy in a moment. But they're energy. But we need to be able to perceive this energy in a particular way, in the particular sense of reality. And then the Nirmanakaya, so that's the Samakaya, the Nirmanakaya is called unlimited compassionate energy. So that all these beings, these thousands of beings in the 6 realms of samsara, have a chance to, and they're deluded and coarse, and they have an impure perception. They have a chance to change and be taught to awaken through the compassion of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, who are pure, but here for the sake of all the sentient beings. So in delusion, when we are on the delusion path, now you can ask us, oh, shame, are you going to leave? Okay, you'll try and come back on. Okay, great, Kathy. So in the deluded path, what happens to us is that we believe in number 1, and know this, the 5 skandhas, the 5 aggregates, the 5, as I told you last week, the 5 aspects of our being that make up the ego. And remember, in our lives, ego is what drives us, what makes us think, what makes us do things. And so when we believe in those 5 skandhas, form, feelings, which we all think are real, and we think we are them, and we think they're permanent, perception, the way we see things, habit conditioning, which I spoke about, which is part of what we're doing, and ordinary consciousness. So in delusion, we believe, first of all, that those 5 are what we are, but they're not. Because as soon as you take those 5 skandhas, they become 5 male Buddhas in the pure thing. Now you may say, Buddhas? My form becomes a Buddha, my feelings become a Buddha. The word Buddha, don't get confused by it. It's not a little statue that we've got. The word Buddha means awakened. So your 5 aggregates become 5 male Buddhas. And I'm going to give you the names of those male Buddhas. And I've been playing with them for so long that I know them. I know them so deeply in my being that when I even say the names of any of those 5 Buddhas, they resonate things in me. I can now see their color. I can see what they represent in me. I can feel what their negative things are that they've created to become clear. And then what else we do on the deluded path is we take the 5 poisons. Now think about the 5 poisons. Ignorance or delusion, that means ignoring the truth or going on a deluded path. Anger, I don't have to explain that. That includes grudges and aggression and murders and absolutely everything are the 5 poisons, okay? Anger, so delusion or ignorance, anger, pride. Pride is one of the very big things. To have pride is when we say, I'm better than you. This is what my parents taught me. Pride. Desire, craving, and attachment, and jealousy and envy. Now, when you look at those 5 poisons out of which all the negative emotions come, those 5 poisons, if you see them in their truth, they become 5 wisdoms. So when you look at it, the 5 skandhas become 5 male Buddhas, their names. Varushana, Akshobhya or Vajrasattva, sometimes Akshobhya is called Vajrasattva, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, and Amoghasiddhi. Those are the 5. Each of them, when I say them very often, a color comes to me, a whole thing comes to me, and then I realize, oh my goodness, these 5 skandhas are that. And then when I'm doing, one of my granddaughters was very angry about something today, and she phoned me. And so she said, Mimi, should I do this and this and this and this with the anger and everything? And I said to her, oh, can I repeat the names of the Buddhas? Sure. Can you put your camera on, or are you still bathing? I want to see it. It's Varushana, Akshobhya, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, and Amoghasiddhi. You can look them up, you can Google them, you'll get them very quickly. And also, when Fiona comes back, I'll get Bernice to give you the chart of all of these. But the reason I don't go on the chart is because I don't want you to use your human, ordinary consciousness. And when you've got a chart, I've got lots of charts for you. You look on it, and then you go, oh, these are the Buddhas, you don't relate with your feeling, with your heart, okay? So when you take those 5 poisons out of which all the others come. So I told you, I was telling you, my granddaughter phoned me today, and she said, I'm so angry about this, and this is the message this person wrote to me. And I said, Jess, do you know what anger is? So she said, no, what? I said, anger is mirror-like wisdom. She said, what's that? I said, mirror-like wisdom is the real state of anger. And shall I explain it to you? She said, yes, please do. I said, did you know that your anger was created for you as a mirror so you could understand yourself better? And she's very bright. She gets me a lot. I often say things to her, even though she's not on that journey. But I said, when you look in mirror-like wisdom, it teaches you the depth. All those imprints that are in you are suddenly have a chance to come to life. And I said, so it's actually brilliant. So don't reply to that message. Ponder how you can change from that message. Ponder about it. And she said, I find that so interesting. Will you tell me more? I said, yes, with pleasure. I'll send you everything. I'll send her my talk from tonight. Then she'll hear me talking about her. But when you look at those five poisons, out of which all the depressions, the anxieties, the fears, all of them come out of, those 5 poisons. And what are they really? Well, if you look at the first one, which is ignorance or delusion when you see it in truth, is the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, or if you want it in English, the all-accomplishing wisdom. So when you look deeply, there is all your ignoring of the truth and your delusions, which is really the wisdom of not of action, the all-accomplishing wisdom, or the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu. Now, our purpose in life is to look at all the things, the deluded stories we tell, and put it into the primordial consciousness of all-accomplishing wisdom, and then we can see the truth about it. So now we start putting together the beautiful crystal. We start putting together this beautiful crystal, which if you turn it in the light, and it has all the different colors, each one is one of these ways to know. So if we take the ignorance and delusion, that is Varashana. And then there's a female Buddha, and I'll tell you what she's about. You understand that if you are looking at all-accomplishing wisdom, you are looking at the feature of Varashana, okay? I say the prayers, I'll give you the prayers afterwards so you can say them and then you can take them home. So when you say them every day, you begin to understand how this works within me, how this crystal turns around and all the different colors and everything are there. So when you look at ignorance, it's the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, or the all-accomplishing wisdom. If you look at anger, aggression, your grudges, your irritability, and sometimes fear comes out of that, which a lot of times that's what the anger is. When you look at it, that is your mirror-like wisdom. And then you go on to the third thing, pride. Pride. How many of us have got pride? How did we ever live through the apartheid era in South Africa? You know, were we proud people? Did we have pride? Did we think we were better than other people as we were taught by our government that we were better? No, when we look at pride and when we look at the fall of pride, then we see the wisdom of equality, or called the equalizing wisdom, which means that in truth, nobody's different to anyone. If the equalizing wisdom was in this world, if we knew and we could relate to it, there'd be no superior. There'd only be people who have more education and more in touch and more spirituality, who could help the ones that didn't. But in the end, we're all equal. Each and every one of us has Buddha nature. Therefore, we are all equal. We are just playing a different role in this life. And we need to see that. So the wisdom of equality, from our pride and our arrogance, the wisdom of equality shows us that all beings are equal. And then we go to the fourth one, which is craving, attachment, and the passions, and the desires, and the holding on to things. That is Amitabha's discriminating wisdom. Because what that discriminating, and you know, a lot of people like Francesca Fremantle says she prefers investigative wisdom rather than discriminating. But doesn't really matter. There are lots of names for the wisdom. But what discriminating or investigative wisdom means is, it means that you can see the difference between the relative and the ultimate. So you can see the difference between those. So you have discrimination. So even though you're living in a relative world, you can still see all of the ultimate. Okay? And that's discriminating wisdom. So instead of hanging on to everything, attached to all my things, my children, my everything, you suddenly have got discriminating wisdom. You know, this is all impermanent stuff. This doesn't belong to me. This is impermanent stuff. And then you get to the last wisdom, which is for envy and jealousy, is the poison, and the wisdom is the wisdom of perfected action. action. Okay, the wisdom of perfected action. And what does that mean? That's the one you get at the end. And in some of the prayers, they say you'll accomplish the 4 wisdoms, and then the 5th one is the final one, because when you have the wisdom of perfected action, everything works through you perfectly. You've got perfect action. But what does the jealousy and envy mean? The jealousy and envy is we go to a workplace, somebody's doing better than us, and we feel terrible envy and jealousy for them. We feel awful about them having a better place than us, and we feel terrible about it, and we really are jealous or envious of their position. But when we go to the wisdom of perfected action, we realize that those that are in the higher places have earned the merit too. So we're not jealous. We actually really are so happy to have them in our lives. We're not envious and jealous, because everybody's in the place they really need to be. So when we look at the poisons and then we see them in their rightful way, they are the wisdoms. And when we look at our 5 course elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and space, those 5, if we see them not in their coarse way, but in their pure way, they become the 5 female Buddhas. And their names are Akadasvisvari, Mamaki, Buddha Lochana, Pandarasini, and Samaya Tara. Those are the 5 ones. I'll give you all the names, so don't worry too much about them. And so you get the 5 dimensions of being from this. And each of the dimensions has got a name. The Buddha family, the Vajra family, the Ratna family, the Lotus family, and the Karma family, the green one. And you put all the colors together, and now you start to have a beautiful idea, okay? Each family, each way of knowing reality has a different color, has a mudra. The mudra is the hand signs which show you what the main work of that family are. Each one has a symbol, each one has a mandala, each one is in a different direction of the mandala. And when you play with the mandala, you learn, oh, I know that Ratna Sambhava and the Ratna family are in the south of the mandala. Why are they in the south? Because they are yellow. They represent earth. They'll be at the bottom of the mandala. They represent abundance. The Ratna is a jewel. It's yellow. When people belong to the Ratna family, they are these generous, over-giving, they're earthy people. You get to know them. And I'm happy to go through all of these with you, because you begin to know what each one is. When you go to the Lotus family, you see their particular, they show you which are the perversions that they've transmuted, and they're now in their pure state. We learn what the realms are, the 6 realms, and how they belong to the 5 families, because 2 of the realms are counted as one. The hungry ghost and the human realm go together, so it makes 5 realms in the end. And each one of these beautiful way of life is a way of overcoming your attachment to a realm. You know, a realm is formed. If you're in a hell realm, you're in a hell realm because you're perpetually angry. You're perpetually getting so mad with people. So you're in a hell realm, and you realize that that hell realm is only a state of mind. Purify it, and you're in the Vajra family, because the Vajra family purifies the hell realm, purifies the anger. Akshobhya and Vajrasattva, they're either one, purify your anger. So it's the most amazing thing. And then the hell realms just disappear once you actually understand. And what color is it? Well, the Vajra family are white, pure. The symbol is a Vajra, this. This is the Vajra family. The symbol is a Vajra, okay? They're pure white. And immediately you know that they represent water. How do I know they represent water? How do I know they represent the element water? Because the Vajra family, who are really, really, who give you mirror-like wisdom, they've got amazing minds. They know how to cut through all sorts of things, but they can also be very angry and very, very condescending of you and very sharp. The water can turn to ice. So when you begin to understand the basis of these families, it's so exciting, but you also learn the perversions. Like the family that I relate most to, I've told you before, is the Lotus family, who's got Amitabha and Pandravasini, Amitabha, Chenrezig, and Guru Rinpoche from that Lotus family. And I relate to that. And what are the Lotus family about? It's red, it's passion. They've got passion for the Dharma. And I know that's how I am. I'm passionate about all these sort of things. They love to communicate, Lotus people. They love to communicate. They love to magnetize people. They love to create things and put in stories and all of that kind of thing. And it's very clear to me that I belong. But there are also perversions of that family. And they can be overbearing. And they can be very possessive. And they can be too much for the brain. And I watch that very, very carefully, because there's got to be the discriminating wisdom to understand people. It's like really, really, really important. So the perversion is there to teach us this and to overcome. And the ordinary consciousness transforms into the primordial consciousness. So let me throw it open. And then if Kath, do you have the prayers? Do you have the prayers to put up? I should have actually asked. Fiona's got them, but I should have actually asked her to do them. Do you have Patrul Rinpoche's prayer or the Bardo prayer that we did last time? Do you have that at all? Okay, have a look while
If
I'm
I can download it now and share it.
That aspiration prayer for deliverance from the dangerous passage of the body. But before we do it anyway, let me throw it open. Ask me whatever you want to know. And then I just want to talk a bit. I am missing a family. Which one are you missing? You've got 5 families, Avi. You've got, which one are you missing? You've got the Buddha family, who is Vairashana, associated with space. Then you've got the Vajra family, which is Akshobhya, associated with water, and with the Vajra, with the anger, is the perversion. And then you've got the Ratna family, Ratna Sambhava, associated with pride, the yellow family, okay? And then you've got the Lotus family, associated with red, Amitabha and Pandravasini, okay? The Lotus family, and their perversion is craving, attachment, and the passions. And then you've got the Karma family, who are green, because you can hear with the green envy and jealousy that I've got on tonight, okay? They're green, and their element is wind and air, and they are the wisdom of perfected action, 5 wisdoms, okay? You can also call them primordial consciousness if you want, because you can call them the primordial consciousnesses or the wisdoms, whichever you like to have. But anyone else want to question or to ask anything or to say anything or to comment, please do. This is your time. With pleasure, if anybody wants to, because I'm giving you lots. But I think we should do one more and look at the personality features, because it seems a lot of people would like to do that. Anyone want to ask or say anything? I know this is difficult, but what I'm telling you is, the more you do the prayers, I will give you the chart of everything, but I want you to play with it. I don't want you to just read it. I want you to play with this, because when you play with it, you begin to feel it. Like I told you last week, when I did a retreat and I did the 5 wisdom, the 5 families, I made them dance into the mandala, and I made them put on, I had cellophane in all the 5 colors to put over the glasses. So the ones that were in, oh, shame. Okay, I'll give it to them. Don't worry, or we could do it next time. It doesn't matter if you can't download it. Viam, you don't have the aspirational bardo prayer, do you? No. Okay. Because I'd like you to do it yourselves rather than for me to read it, because it won't be nearly as good if I do. And I should have thought about it, Kathy. There were just so many things going on, you know, I just didn't think about it.
Now,
Yes, please.
I have a
Please.
what about once you read and
Your sound is so bad. You know what? You know why? I blooming left this on and I meant to turn it off. Now, I bet she's going to say I'm half off the screen. Go ahead. Go again.
So I think it'd be interesting if we had some sort of retreat, online retreat, or some sort of practice tutorial that we could do it as an exercise.
Yeah, I did one at TRC a little while ago. I mean, we could maybe think about doing one on retreat, but you know, on thing, but you know, for this kind of work, it's easier if you are together. Do you know what I mean? Where you actually are learning about it. Like I made them go into the mandala, and it was amazing because everybody knew where they belonged. Nobody went into, we made this big mandala on the floor. We made all these glasses. I said, help yourself to whichever glasses you want. If you feel more red, more green, more whatever. And they all knew where to go. It was amazing that people know when you start to dance with them, it's the most amazing thing. You actually know exactly what they are. Now, Kathy, if I were to photograph the prayer and send it to you, could anybody put it up on the screen if I did that? No. I wish I could. It's my fault because I know Fiona's not here and I wanted to just do it.
What's the name of the prayer?
Sorry, Kathy. If I photographed it and sent it to you, it would be too long to put it up on the screen, right?
I mean, I've got it because I've got it in my email and I'm trying to save it in my documents because then I'll be able to upload it as a file. Or even if you give me co-host, then I should be able to share it.
Okay, but are you not co-host anymore?
No, I don't. It doesn't. It says I'm not anymore. Because I've got it open, but I was hoping I could share it.
Okay, well now you can share. I've put it on share.
Let's try.
Share.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. If you can, it'll be wonderful. And then we can try. It'll be great if you can, because I want them to have it. But I will get you all these prayers. That's my promise to you. I will upload them or get one of the girls to give you everything and the chart and the prayers. I mean, Bernice has got it all and she'll easily give it to you. But you know, you need to ask. Let's see if Kathy can get it. But while we're waiting, I just want you to see that when we go along, we begin to realize that the 5 aspects of wisdom are simply energy, okay? And that this energy itself is neutral, but in the illusory world of samsara, it appears as 5 kinds of confusion and negativity. So the poisons are nothing but a distortion of the enlightened energy. So they too are also included within the 5 families. Oh, that's great if you get it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I just want to see. Yeah, perfect, Kat. Absolutely perfect. Can you make it a little bigger so they can all see? And then we're going to recite this together. Can you cut? Can you all see? Can you make it bigger on your own screen? No. Can you all read it? Okay, if you can read it, that's brilliant. So let's all read it together. I'll read it on mine. Okay, read it. And then this is one of the prayers you say every day. When through intense delusion, I wander in samsara, on the luminous path of all-encompassing knowledge. Now they use the word knowledge. You could change that word to wisdom if you want, okay? But all-accomplishing is what I said, the all-accomplishing wisdom, or all-encompassing, it doesn't. May blessed Varashana go before me, Great Mother Dadasvari, Queen of Space behind me, deliver me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfect awakened state. Buddha family. Second, when through intense aggression, say it everybody, I wander in samsara on the luminous path of the mirror-like knowledge or wisdom, whichever you want to call it. May blessed Vajrasattva go before me. You can also call him Akshobhya. Great Mother Mamaki before me, behind me, deliver me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfect awakened state. Second family, Vajra family, okay? Vajra family there with Vajrasattva or Akshobhya, the male, and Mamaki, the female. Those are just the aspects when the purification of the skandhas and the poisons happen. Third family, the Ratna family. When through intense pride, I wander in samsara on the luminous path of the equalizing knowledge, you can call it the wisdom of equality if you want. May blessed Ratna Sambhava go before me, Great Mother Buddha Lochana behind me, deliver me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfectly awakened state. Ratna family, you know immediately the color yellow, the earth, the generosity, the jewel of the Ratna family. You feel it in your bones if you belong there. Fourth family, when through intense passion, that's passion, craving, attachment, I wander in samsara on the luminous path of the investigative or discriminating knowledge or wisdom. May blessed Amitabha go before me, Great Mother Pandarosini behind me, deliver me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfect awakened state. Fourth family, the Lotus family, red, passion about the Dharma, creative about the Dharma and all of that. Fifth family, when through intense envy or jealousy, I wander in samsara on the luminous path of the action accomplishing knowledge, or you could say the wisdom of perfected action. These are just names and it doesn't matter which names you use, okay? May blessed Amoga City go before me, Great Mother Samaya Tara behind me, deliver me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfect awakened state. All five, the fifth one, the Karma family, green, Amoga City and Samaya Tara. Tara's always in green, okay? And they are the wisdom of perfected action. They are the fifth. Okay, so now look at the last paragraph of it and you say, when through the five poisons I wander in samsara, on the luminous path of the four knowledges combined, you can say the four wisdoms combined, whichever word suits you. Why four? Because before you get to the wisdom of perfected action, you go through the first 4. That's why on the luminous path of the 4 wisdoms combined, may the victorious ones of the 5 families go before me, the great mothers of the 5 families behind me, save me from the bardo's dangerous passage and bring me to the perfect awakened state. It's actually got 2 more lines below, but it doesn't matter, Kathy. Kathy, thank you. Just take that off and then you can all talk to me about that. That's perfect. Now, when you say that, I say this off by heart. So I do it in the bathroom. Every single morning, I say this prayer. And sometimes I mutter other things about the families. Kathy, can take it off, sweetie. Sometimes I mutter other things about the families as I'm running through the prayer, because it's so second nature to me now that this prayer, I say it every day, and it resonates with me, and it's really, really gives me the 5 dimensions of being straight away. Kath, can you take it off now? Boy, I don't know what's happened to poor Kathy. Right, let me go like, no, I don't know, Kathy. She's not taking it off. Don't know what's happened to her. Shame. She's on the train and trying to help me out tonight with Fiona in thing. Where can you get a copy of this? Listen, I'm going to get all of these to you when Fiona comes back in 2 weeks' time. When we get together again, I will get all of these to you. Okay, the prayers and everything, right, okay? Oh, she can't get it off the screen now. Those are the last 2 lines. Can you not photograph it on the screen, Phil? Kath, are you having trouble now? Okay. We can't get back and we can't get forward. Kathy, if you can take that off, I'll be really, really happy. All right, I'm going to have to carry on because she doesn't seem to be, I know she's stuck on the train and it's really bad, because the other prayer that I want to give you, and I'll get you all these prayers, is by Patrul Rinpoche, the heart treasure of enlightenment. But it's no good me doing it unless I can put it on the screen. I don't know if Kathy's got it. But Kath, can you not get this off the screen now? So that I can have everybody back. Can you go off, Kath? Did I miss something? What? I can't share it. If you can give me co-host, I can try. I can't even see you on here, Kath. I can't see you at all. Oh dear. It's really a bit of a disaster. I can't see you. She's really trying to help me out tonight, but it wasn't a great idea. But anyway, we just make the most of it. Kath, all I want you to do is just take it off so that I can get the people back. That's all. If you can. I can't. Oh, wait, there you are. Are you not co-host? No, you are co-host, Kath. If you can get the picture off and get me back the screen, that'll help a lot. Can you not take it off now? I don't know. Okay, great. Thanks, Kathy. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to get all these prayers to you. Does anyone want to ask anything? Can you understand that if you say these prayers regularly, you start to introduce yourself to the whole 5 families and what they mean and what they are and how you feel about them? Kath, do you have Patrul Rinpoche's heart treasure of enlightenment? Do you have that, Kath? No. No, she's really struggling. Okay, let's not even try. We will do it next time. But I'll just tell you that Patrol Rinpoche's heart treasure gives you also the complete transmuting of all of the poisons of like how you actually put them into the families. I just want you tonight to get this beautiful idea of understanding where you belong. And I think what we can do is we can do some meditation, and then next time when Fiona's back, I'll put it on the screen, and also you'll be able to download it to do the practices. But I really want you to do these practices, because I think when you start actually reciting them, you'll find an amazing change goes into it. Really, really does.
Mel,
So, yes.
I
Please.
shared the link from the internet for the prayer that you just read.
Oh, brilliant. But is it the same? Because sometimes those prayers are a bit wrong.
I don't know. It looks like it is, but I'm not sure.
Don't do it yet, because I'd rather give you the version that I know so that everybody gets the right version. I'm sorry that I can't do it tonight. It's just one of those things that poor Kathy's on the train and trying to help me out, and it just isn't working very well. But the prayers did work well. But Kathy, do you actually have that prayer, the heart treasure of enlightenment?
Mal, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can. Okay, great. So I don't think that I've got the heart treasure of enlightenment. I don't think that was sent to me, and I'm trying to upload to the chat the aspiration prayer, but I'm just battling because I'm on my phone.
But we'll get it all to you, so don't worry about it. But I just want to tell you that Patrol Rinpoche's heart treasure of enlightenment, he actually says it so beautifully, and he says, don't pursue the field of anger and hostility. Instead, look at the inflamed mind, which is just what I've been telling you. Within the sphere of voidness, clarity, self-manifesting anger is self-liberated. Voidness clarity is none other than mirror-like primordial wisdom. Within the sphere of self-liberated anger and hostility, recite the 6 syllables Om Mani Padme Hum. And he does that with each of the families. So he takes the creative part of the field of anger and hostility, and he tells you, don't look at the anger and hostility, look at your inflamed mind. And then he's telling you, if you just allow it to be, it just dissolves, it liberates of itself. And it's so exciting to all of us, because all these negative emotions really kill us and change us. And he says, just recite Om Mani Padme Hum, and the anger will just go into mirror-like wisdom. So that's his whole program. And I'll tell you, I won't give it to you because you really need to see it on the screen. So I won't give it to you. We'll just do a few meditations of each of some of the wisdoms. And then when we come together, not next week, but the week after, I will give you some of the personality traits. Do you want to say something, Ron?
I just want to ask you, this anger that is spoken of now, the anger, that's the outward appearance, but the inner one is where it's happening, where it heals you. But you can't have the one without the other. So there isn't just an anger that happens by itself. But we've forgotten how to go inwardly. And that is where the fire lies that you're speaking of. And then they come together, and then there's no difference.
Of course, there's no difference. That's what we're learning, because the anger is the mirror-like wisdom. You know, the poison is the wisdom. And that's what I'm trying, exactly that. And what I'm trying to say is there is no difference. But if you focus on the anger and you don't understand that it can liberate itself, you really believe in it, and you believe that's what you feel, and you feel that all the time. And then symptoms come of illness because you're not looking at what the mind is reflecting. It's fascinating, don't you think? And I'm trying, I'm trying here to give it in a way that people can relate to it in their day-to-day life. Because when you actually understand, and that's what Irini Rockwell does, she actually takes the personality traits and she shows you. So very often you can see, like for instance, there's certain people that are always very private. They're very private, and some of them are really quite deep and quite insightful, but they prefer to be on their own. They won't yank people in any way. And when you look at them, you actually begin to understand that they come from Varashana's family of the all-accomplishing wisdom. They live, the negative side of that is when you live in your own world and you can't share it, but the actual family shares and gives it to everyone else. But if you come from that space family, that it's space is the element, for some people find it very, very difficult to be able to communicate with other people, and they prefer being on their own. So then they take the personality traits and pervert them into a personality that's not very useful, on this earth plane. But I think, I'm sure you two have discovered what family you feel you belong to, or you feel the traits of. And I think as you feel them, as we go through them in meditation, you think, yeah, that's who I am. But it's funny because I do the perversion much more often than I do the real trait that family has. It's wonderful, but you have to take a long time to understand this. You can't understand it just me talking about it and getting a chart. You can't. But when you start doing the prayers, I told you that story of how I got to Patrul Rinpoche's prayer. I happened when I started out in Buddhism to go to a course that Akon Rinpoche gave, and Tupten was reading this out. There were about 300 people at Sammy Ling, and he was reading this out. And after he finished reading each verse, he took a cover and put it over. And Rinpoche said, now I want you to write the verse out yourselves, okay? Now, I was brand new. I didn't know what was going on, okay? And I put my hand up and I said, Rinpoche, do you have to put your name on the paper you empty? Because I thought, oh my God, if I put my name on, it'll be such garbage, because I didn't understand anything. But what I didn't know in those days was that I stumbled in on that particular course that Rinpoche was doing, even though I didn't have the slightest clue. And what I did after that course was, I remember phoning Pippa and saying, Pippa, send me that prayer. I'm going to say it until I understand it. That's my kind of nature that I have. So she sent me the prayer. And every single day since that, about 20 years ago, I've been saying this prayer every day until I actually got it. You have to repeat it a lot, because when I looked at, don't perceive the feel of anger and hostility. Instead, look at your inflamed mind. See what your mind is creating in the anger. And if you look at your inflamed mind, you will see that what is in front of you, the angry people, is just a mirror for you to clear your own imprints. And likewise with everything, your craving, your attachment, your possessiveness, all those kind of things, those are discriminating wisdom. When you look in the mirror of discriminating wisdom, you realize none of these are real. None of these belong to me. None of this is permanent. Nothing like that. And then you begin to realize that the actual wisdom starts taking over the discriminating or investigating wisdom. And piece by piece, you start understanding when he says, don't crave the field of desire and attachment. Instead, look at the craving mind. The craving mind is creating this desire of attachment. And then when you look deeply at it, it'll become discriminating primordial wisdom and recite Om Mani Padme Hum. And the same with jealousy. He says, don't pursue the field of jealousy. Instead, look at the jealous mind. And within the sphere of voidness mind, all of that will be liberated, and you'll have activity accomplishing primordial wisdom. So you see, when you begin to understand what Patrul Rinpoche was showing you, which I didn't understand then, but I do understand now, was look at the mind that creates this. And you will find that every one of the poisonous situations are created from your mind. And then when you get that, they go absolutely into liberation, back into the essence. And there you are, with your own wisdom, the facets of your own personality, the facets of your own Buddha nature are shown to you.
So, Mel, you step out of the cage of ego, and then when you've stepped out of the cage of ego, you can look, you can observe, but you're not involved in it.
100%. And you know what? That's the hardest thing, to get out of the cage of ego. Because the reason we are living is to protect our egos and that of our children and that of our families and that of our things. We're protecting. And the Buddha, one of the first teachings was, the Buddha said, but there is nothing. It's all emptiness. It's all interdependent causes that are gone in a minute. Therefore, why do you attach to it? We attach to it because of the habit. But to get out of the habit is what I was talking about right in the beginning. You have to get out of the box, because how else can you actually get out of the habit of saying, poor me, look at my life, look at how I am, and you're going form, feelings, perceptions, habits, and consciousness. We change. And suddenly, instead of seeing all the ugliness, we're seeing the expression of the Sambhogakaya in 5 dimensions of reality, which are really who we are. It's absolutely mind-blowing, but absolutely true. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Mel, can I just mention something? As soon as we saw this prayer come up and we started reading it, I looked at John and I said, where do we know it from? Somebody put this prayer into us a long time ago. It was so familiar. It's been working all this time. And then I started thinking, Akon was doing other Dharma work at some stage, which had to do with, there's another lady, I just can't remember who it is, who goes around doing work with the elements and other work. I can't remember that.
Back to beginnings.
Yes. So I think maybe that material is in there, because everything you're speaking about, it just came pouring out. And I suddenly thought, I've heard all this before. I've lived through all this before. So it may be in the Back to Beginnings teachings.
Brilliant. And you know what? Get Patrul Rinpoche's prayer, because it was, I told you, it's one of the first things that Ekon Rinpoche introduced me to.
I think
I
we may
will-
have it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got it.
Yeah, we've got
I
such
will-
a pile of stuff here.
But I will get it for all of you so that you can read it, and then you can ask me, and I've got no problem if any of you text me question. I just do an audio answer with the greatest of pleasure, because it's a new way of looking at yourself. It's a new way of discovering that I'm not just Melanie. Melanie's just a temporary, transient being in a drama of life, and that all of that will be over soon. And where do I belong? And especially for those of you that have families that have let you down a lot. I mean, it's such a beautiful feeling to know that you've really got a true family. So let's just do a tiny bit of meditation, and then I'll let you go. And then in 2 weeks' time, when we're back to normal and everything, I will really, really, really take you through the personality traits, and we can do it kind of like a retreat. Because what we'll do, I think we can do the whole session entering into each Buddha family, and then I'm going to talk about what it means getting into the mandala and how these characteristics come into you. And then I hope from that, a lot of you will recognize where you really belong, because you'll feel it straight away. Such a beautiful feeling. Really is, a beautiful feeling. So let's try and do a little bit of meditation. I'll just put this on to put the gong. I'm taking it off. Okay, so I want you to just breathe in and breathe out and come to this very precious moment of really understanding who you are and what you are. And tonight, let's just go into one of the families, and then we'll do all of the families next time. But let's choose one of the families. I think we've been talking a lot about the Vajra family. So I think we'll stick with the Vajra family, and I'm going to give you a whole lot of things from the Vajra family. So I want you to breathe in and breathe out and come to this beautiful moment when you see yourself as a crystal, not as you, but as a beautiful, beautiful crystal. You've got all these dimensions. And as soon as the sun comes up, you can see the beautiful, vivid colors of the family. So tonight, we'll just go into the Vajra family, just a little, just for a few minutes. So I want you to go into the white section of the actual mandala, the white section, okay? And when we look at the white section, this is called the Akshobhya or Vajrasattva section of the beautiful Vajra family. And the Vajra family means unshakable. They are unshakable. The Vajra is called the thunderbolt or the diamond scepter, okay? And the family is called Vajra as you go into it with this beautiful color of white, okay? It combines the strength, power, and energy of the thunderbolt with the brilliance, purity, and indestructibility of the diamond. And when you look at the posture of beautiful Vajrasattva or Akshobhya, he's cross-legged, touching the ground before him with his right hand. And that is because he touches the earth. He's right there. He's witnessing the earth in it. And he is the embodiment of the mirror-like wisdom. The mirror is mind itself, clear as the sky, empty, but also luminous color. It is sometimes known as the cosmic mirror, and it contains the whole of existence. So when you enter this beautiful part of the mandala, which is east of the mandala, always east of the mandala, if you know your directions, you see that the great elements arise from the emptiness, and they are the mothers who give birth to everything. Mamaki is the beautiful mother of water. When I think of Mamaki, I always think of her with water. And the Vajra family is associated with water. But when water is frozen into ice, it becomes hard and sharp, as clear and sparkling as a cut diamond. But diamond, like intelligence, to achieve its full potential, must be fluid and adaptable as flowing water in its natural state. When the mind becomes hard and hostile and angry, the cool, refreshing quality of water has turned into icy coldness, cutting through very icy without compassion. It's very difficult to get through to people who are in aggressive mood. They may boil to a furious rage or even be icy cold. So in their perversion, when people belong to the beautiful Vajra family, which has clarity and wisdom, and it does have intellect, but not intellect that disturbs the understanding of the Dharma, okay? But they have a very sharp reactivity. They cut through confusion, and the shining clarity sees everything without obstruction. But they can also become intellectually fixed and rigid, and then become very uptight and really look down on people who do not have their own, be critical of people and angry with people and notice every mistake and be intolerant, instead of the beautiful clarity and steadfastness which makes us relaxed and calm and being able to teach people and make them understand with the beautiful clarity of the Vajra. So when we look at this pure white, I want you now to just imagine the pure white water of the Vajra family pouring over you and cleansing you. You know, when you have Vajra Sattva and you do the 100-syllable mantra, it cleanses everything in you. So I want you right now to feel all the hostility, the anger, and everything cleaning through you with the beautiful, pure water of the white Vajra family. Feel it and know that you can be very clear without imposing it on people, without your sharp intelligence can help and serve if you belong to this beautiful family. But it can also get icy cold and very critical. So that's just an example of the Vajra family. And I want to take you next week through all the families, because I think if you understand them, you'll see where you fit. And when you see where you fit, you can go and read. You can go and read Irene Rockwell's book. You can read Francesca Fremantle's book. They've all got these beautiful families in them. And it's so exciting to know that you have all these dimensions of your being, which are absolutely accessible when you just stop and allow the poisons to liberate of their own selves. So I think that's really enough tonight. It's a lot. And I want you to just take it away. And then in 2 weeks' time, not next week, I'll take a break next week because it's Easter. Even tonight, half the people aren't here because of Passover and all the different holidays that we've had. But never mind, all of you are here and the others will listen. And I just want you to begin to have a feeling about it. And I'll get you all the prayers, I'll get you all the things. I'll also get you a chart, a very nice chart that I will give you, which you can look up, but don't stick with the chart. That's all I don't want you to do, because I prefer it if you relate by dancing in the energy of each of the beautiful families and knowing where you belong and where you fit in. And it actually lifts you from all the rubbish that we have around us in our lives. You know, it just lifts you into another space. Like, I really regard my true family as the Lotus family. And what does the lotus mean? It means you can be in the mud, but you can still grow into a beautiful lotus. And each of you will find your beautiful way. Some of you are very hospitable and open. You probably belong to the Ratna family because they are earthy. So when you meet people who are earthy, they're so beautiful, they're hospitable. You come into them, and remember, you can have a bit of that and of the other families. You don't only have to belong to one family. But so when you begin to understand and to understand the perversions of those things, then you start to understand yourself much deeper. The deeper you understand, the more you will carry out those personality traits in your life. It's very exciting. So let's just dedicate, don't worry, Kathy, we'll just do Sonam, it's fine. And let's dedicate to all sentient beings who are going through absolutely pain and suffering and dramas and wars and change and hatred and hostility. We dedicate, if they can even get a little bit from any of this, and just for one moment have a glimpse at their real nature, how it would change the world. And I really want to tell you how the world would be if the wisdoms were free in the world. It would be a different world. We'd have no bias, we'd have no arrogance, we'd have none of those things in the world. We wouldn't have the politics we've got. So we dedicate to all of the people who are suffering now. Sonam diye tamche zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene jegana chi balak dopaye sipe sole doa dro warsho. So I hope it's not too